everyone? Chris Record here, and I'm excited to do an interview with Mark Hoverson. And if you're not familiar with who Mark Hoverson is, he's done well over $10 million online, an 8-figure producer. His videos have been consumed over 1 million hours. I mean, just imagine that, over 1 million hours of people watching your videos. And we actually have something in common, which is really cool. We both got our start in the public library because we couldn't even afford internet access. So what I want to do real quick is, before we go inside and do an interview, tell everybody a little bit about kind of who you are, a little bit of your story to set up today's interview. Then I just want to dive in and pick your brain.
Yeah, so the short version is I grew up in North Dakota, and I grew up in a mobile home, and always in my mind wanted a bigger life. You know, I was on the prairie, so I always wanted something bigger, California, Florida, Miami. And eventually, I was about 21, 22, I discovered Jim Rohn online. One quote, self-education, or formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. And then I saw his profits are better than wages. And so I doubled down on self-education and doubled down that profits are better than wages. Those were the two foundations.
Wow.
And then it was just a long, hard, grim trail.
Not an overnight success?
No, no, not even close, actually. So, but eventually, when I went on video, I went on YouTube, I was so hungry to succeed, I didn't eat for 6 days.
Wow.
I went on a fast. It wasn't really religious. It was like, I had heard that the ancient Greeks fasted for insight and things, and so I just quit eating, only drank water, and on day 5, I had an idea to go on video. It just came, it flashed into my mind. I know that sounds crazy, a little weirdo, but it just was like, go on video. And so I went on video, and literally the next week, everything changed.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I've never yet heard a story like that,
No.
of 6 days of fasting to come up with the idea.
Yeah.
So you took that idea, you changed, and let's fast forward.
I also barely could afford food, so it was kind of,
it
was kind of an economic,
the real story is,
there was an economic reason too, but I was like, since I can barely afford food anyway, I'm just gonna go straight water and see what happens.
So then fast forward, and now you've done just big, massive product launches online. You've started your own companies. You've got, one of the things I love most is that just the other week over here at my house, you brought a bunch of young entrepreneurs, ranging ages like 18 to 24 years old, and you brought them over to the house, and you and I, we mentored them, and this is part of a group of guys that you've actually been mentoring, and I just love that stuff. So you're not only becoming successful, but you're actually taking time to mentor the next generation and pass on a legacy, and that's one of the things I'm most excited about.
Well, you did an amazing job, by the way. Like the guys were in love with that day. Beautiful house, tons of wisdom from you. And really a lot of that was, you know, that idea behind that group is all the mistakes we make, they're fodder for other people to save them time, you know, save them some of our heartache. And so that's what that whole group's about, is like, I've made so many mistakes, I'm gonna let you know what all of them were, so you can maybe like not make them. Yeah. And so that's kind of the idea behind that.
Well, let's do this. Let's just go ahead and jump in the house. Let's sit down and let's do an interview where I can ask you about what these mistakes are, what's some advice you have for entrepreneurs that might be watching right now, and what we could do to be able to not only tell them your story, but be able to inspire them to know that anything's possible. Because if a guy like you can start in the public library, broke, and be able to go to generating 8 figures online, millions of hours of videos watched, then it's possible for anybody. So let's go and inspire them.
I love it. Let's do it.
We can feel love.
Pinnacle Peak hike out there, trail, beautiful North Scottsdale, North Phoenix, that you can see here. The views here are cool. The views are even better up from my balcony right there. So when I wake up in the morning, get these epic views, and then one time it's crazy, I even climbed all the way up on the roof, and there's like 360-degree views of all this. It's just beautiful up there.
Well, yeah, you get the north side up there.
Yeah,
too.
in fact, you know, it's just a crazy idea. We could, if you wanted to, you don't have to, we could actually do the interview from the top of the roof. It's not too cloudy, it's not too crazy.
And we get up there by just helicopters, or how do we, what's the path?
It's not easy. You would have to scale the walls to get up there. You know what? I don't know. Maybe, I mean, you got the camera guys here, but this wall over
Those look
here,
like steps to me.
we could maybe go up that.
Those are inviting steps.
All the way up to the top that way. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we could probably do that.
Have you ever done it before?
I've never done that. Never once.
Well, then I'm in. I'm double in.
All right, let's do the interview on the roof. We're going to do the interview on the roof, I guess, guys. right, so we have made it on the roof. We've made it on the roof.
We made it.
And we're gonna go ahead and do the interview up here. It's pretty classic, but we're gonna have some fun with it. So I just wanna pick up where we left off, which was you talking about your story. I wanna hear a little bit more about it, and then let's transition into, a lot of people talk about success that they've had, and you've had plenty of success, but I wanna do things a little bit differently. Let's talk about some of your failures, because I think people can sometimes learn more from failures than from success. And then we'll wrap it up with some tips for the audience on kind of what they can do with entrepreneurship. So I know a little bit of your story was literally living in a mobile home, like on a farm. You have such humble roots. So why don't we pick up that part of the story? Where were you? What was life like? And at what point did you decide to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I remember when I was 5, we were in the mobile home, and it was a single wide. And my parents were they were young and they were broke, and everyone was though. So it's not like that was an extraordinary circumstance. I didn't know anyone with money. Nobody I knew anybody. So it wasn't like torturous or anything, but mice we'd check our mice. We would have a cat or two in the house, and those were working cats to catch mice. I mean, we were in an old mobile home. That's a true story. But I remember I was 5 and I asked my mom why we weren't rich. I don't know where I came up with that idea, but I was like, Mom, why aren't we rich? It just seemed like something on the menu that we never like selected. And she said, Mark, we're rich in love. And she laughed and I laughed, and my uncle was there and we all laughed, but that was true. We were rich in what mattered the most above everything, which was love. And the other real thing, I think, from my childhood, I started in that mobile home, and then we moved to like a 100-year-old farmhouse on the same plot of land. And then by the time I was a freshman, we were in the nicest house in the county. And I remember I'd wake up in the middle of the night in the mobile home, and it'd be cold, like North Dakota, freezing cold. And my mom would be studying. She was studying. She did 8 years of school. And so I always saw our poverty, and unconsciously, I never like thought of this as a kid, but it was a transitional, temporary situation. And so when I started my family in a trailer park, no money, and the propane went out one night, I wake up, see the breath, babies are crying, my wife's pregnant, and they call the propane guy in, and I tell the guy, I say, I can write you a check. I'm almost in tears, because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm a grown man in America. I got a pregnant wife, 1 kid crying in a crib, and the house is freezing. It's winter. And I said, you know what? I can write you a check. It's not gonna work. I can give you a credit card. It's not gonna get approved. I said, I don't know what to tell you. And the propane guy, I remember, it's an emergency call late at night, and he just looked, I remember the look, it was just pity. And he said, we'll figure it out. He filled it up and went away. That was my fabric of childhood. And then I start my own life, and it's back in the mobile home. But I always knew if I just kept working, that was not permanent. And so it was fun. It's just an identical cycle, you know?
So what happened? So how did you go from that poverty mindset that, I know you were rich and you had a good abundant mindset in terms of the family, but still you were experiencing a poverty lifestyle. At what point did that belief in yourself start to transition that you knew you could do more, and then you actually turned that into action and did more?
You know, I think the real story, like the one that's just real, is I had ethical problems with money. I really thought wealthy people, like at a moral level, there was a corrosive reality to them being wealthy. Because I remember I had a friend, and he had a Corvette. His tires were about $2,500. His rims were $2,500 each. My monthly salary wasn't much more, and I just remember I had such internal rage that at him as just a person, which is hilarious because he employed probably 100 people. He was one of the most generous men. In fact, the day I felt that, my car broke down, and he said, hey, you can drive my Corvette, like I got other cars. You can drive it as long as you need. Wow. One of the most generous men I've ever met. Just an amazing man, but in like deep, I just had a anti-wealth thing. And so I went to Solomon in Proverbs, and I kept studying it, and I found the ethics for abundance. That's where I found it. And then I saw that wealth, you could take things that were of lower value and put your heart in it and make it of more value. And then I saw Solomon and people bringing him wealth from all over the world to sit at his feet for wisdom. And then I said, that's what information marketing was. He was an information marketer. And they would lay gold and silver and prizes at his feet and listen to his wisdom. And I said, there's an ethical place for wealth. And I started making money.
Well, that's powerful. So coming to a point where you had kind of a negative connotation, a negative association with wealth, with
Evil.
money.
Not just negative.
Evil association. Yeah. Like, and I think a lot of people can relate to that because a lot of people grow up in an environment where that in order to make that kind of money, you must be greedy, you must be taking advantage of people, you must be shady, you must be whatever it is. And that you found through the Book of Solomon, that you actually found reading through Solomon, you started finding an ethical abundance. And actually, this is the first time in my life that I've ever heard Solomon referred to as the original information marketer. He was trading information. People were bringing him wealth. He was exchanging knowledge. He was actually an information marketer. So, cool. So you got this kind of idea that, you know what? There's an ethical way to do this. I feel comfortable with it now. So, did wealth just come overnight just because you felt that way?
No, but almost.
Almost.
So much of what's holding us back is right in our heart and our belly and just where we're at. Like, if you think for a second that if, let's say you're selling a $5,000 information course and you think, oh, that's just information, like, that's not a good bargain. You have the vibes to never sell that. You have every self-sabotage because your moral thermometer and governor is going to create circumstances, even though you know you need the money. You've seen flashes of what abundant you would look like, the kindness, the goodness, the message. We all have flashes of what us prosperous could be. You know, we'd eat better, we'd work out more, we'd be more generous, we know it. But if deep down I just had resistance. So for me, it came a lot faster. It came in about a year. Wow. And it was like $40,000 in credit card debt. I took out all the credit I could have, started my business, but very shortly, money, like a few thousand came in after just a few months. And then it was a few more thousand. And then around my second year, but time is elastic, so time is an elastic thing. I took out two $20,000 credit cards. In those days, they gave credit easier, but I took every piece of credit I could get. And I said, this is it, honey. We were paying insurance on that. We were cash advancing for our mortgage. I burned every dollar to $40,000 before that thing tilted. And most people will bleed $40,000 over 6 years and say, I've been here forever, and it's just, this thing's not working. I just collapsed that time of what a lot of people spend over 5 or 6 years slowly learning. I said, I'm done. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not suggesting this. I think it's very foolish. But the truth is I quit everything, and I'd work probably 12 to 16 hours a day. And with my wife and kids, I said, I have one walk in the middle of the day. We'll walk around the block as a family and bring food to me. I'm not coming out of this cave till I figure this out. Wow. And it was a year. It was a gross year. I don't wish that year on myself again. It was fearful. It was trepidation. I mean, I went on a 6-day hunger strike, personally, protesting my poverty. And on day 5, or it was a 7-day, day 5 or 6, that's when I got the go on YouTube, go on video. And I put my kids on my lap and my wife on behind me. And then I heard about direct response marketing, that you could put an ad on Google. The day I put an ad on Google, it just said, hey, welcome, this is Mark Hoverson, and welcome to whatever I was welcoming to. Yeah. And then I had a little opt-in button, and someone put in their name and phone number, and I called them back, and I was a celebrity instantly. Wow. To that person. They're like, wow, you called me back? And I'm like, I've been calling people like 10 hours a day, buying leads. I never got that response. That's when I learned attraction marketing. There was no books on it. There was no courses. There was no teaching. There was no SEO. Maybe there was, but I don't think nobody knew what they were doing yet. Google didn't even know what they were doing. They were just putting up algorithms. So anyway, it was a fascinating story to talk about, but during my heart was racing, and it was fearful nights, drinking myself to sleep. I'd get a 6-pack, 12-pack. We had a TV this big, not cable. No cable, so I had 3 or 4 stations. I'd work all day, not even close to money. Like, money was running, every day I tried, money seemed further away. But I just was stupid enough to keep trying, I guess. And then at night, like, I just drink myself till I'd fall asleep. I'd wake up with a little hangover. My wife would say, "You can do this." And she was huge for me. And she believed in me, and I don't know why, but she did. And eventually it just popped. It just popped. So, and I think for me, how I've been able to be a part of thousands of these type of stories now is because somebody says it's hard, they're just talking to the wrong guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, somebody says like, "Oh, I don't know, I got to take out a credit card for this." I'm just like, you're talking to the wrong guy. I mortgaged everything I had.
Because you're willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff.
No, so there's something powerful. There's several powerful things there. The commitment that you are willing to make to your business, I think, is above and beyond what the average person does. The average person wants to see instant gratification with very little commitment, or what feels like a lot of commitment to them. Well, you know, I don't want to belittle anybody's commitment, but you said, "Hey, listen, I'm willing to put in a massive commitment," and it didn't happen your first year. It didn't. You know, it took a while to happen, but when it finally did click, I love the idea of how it clicked. What happened was, you were already going through all the motions, but it was like you were working hard instead of working smart. And then when you really started leveraging video marketing, it built up like a brand around you, a reputation, almost like a celebrity, where now you're able to work smart. You're able to do the same exact motion, which is lead comes in, you call back the lead and you pitch whatever it is. But now you call back the lead, and now suddenly the dynamic has changed where you're now almost like a celebrity. You have posture and everything. Welcome to the world of attraction marketing. And I love how that happened. I love how it kind of accidentally happened. So from this attraction marketing, you obviously got a taste of it and said, "Okay, this is what I want to do." I know you went on to continue to do tons and tons and tons of videos. So in this journey now, from the time where you cracked the code and you figured out there's a smarter way to do business more effectively that can create wealth, tell me a little bit about some of the failures that you had along the way, because I think people really can learn from failures. I want to hear, like, do you have any juicy, fun stories of failure? You know, we got as much time as you want to take. We're rooftop chilling here in Scottsdale.
It's an anthology. I mean, it's an anthology.
Well, maybe pick a couple of fun failures to share with us.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, I have them when you're just starting out. I didn't fail much because I wanted it so bad that I didn't even have time to interpret or catch if I failed, because I just picked myself up and kept going. So I probably had a lot of failures that I just didn't have time to care about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's an interesting perspective, though.
And I think that's part of,
pushed through failures.
That's part of the thing, because if you bind up your identity in a result, you start attaching, "Oh, I'm the guy that loses the sale. I'm the guy that has a client say that they're going to buy and then they run away." You can overdo personal responsibility. You know, we attract everything. Like, I think you can overplay like we attract everything. I just did not define myself by anything but work. That's all I define myself by. I'm working, I'm working, I'm working, I'm working, I'm working. Because I believed the hand of the diligent would make rich. And I just believed that one 100%. And I just kept going. But the manifold mistakes. I think one of my biggest mistakes early on was working so hard without going, is there a better, smarter way? Is there a more elegant way? Because it's kind of like, I was just with a millionaire, they do about 20 grand a week, and good friends of mine just last week. And I asked, he was at my dinner table with my son, and I just said, "Can you give a little insight?" And then I said, "Isaac, I want you to ask 3 questions about after you hear his story." It's just something I do for my kids to get them around awesome people. And the multi-millionaire said, "You could take a nail, Isaac, and on this table, if the vision is to drive the nail into the table, you can use your head, you can take your hand and try to force it into the table, or you can grab a hammer. And it's actually kind of fun." And what I was doing was I was trying to close sales by buying cold leads that made no sense. And I was trying to make sales like a nail with human effort. And I was working so hard, I got obsessed in my work and just not thinking. But I don't even consider that a failure, because I'd take someone that's obsessed on just the work, I'll take 10 of them to somebody who thinks philosophically for days on end, but just scared to take an action. So I didn't have fear. I should have had fear because it was really stupid, everything I was doing, mortgaging my future. I had no plan to pay this money back, and I had no degree, and I had no real skill set. So if this didn't work, I was in a lot of trouble. I would have been at my parents' with my family.
Why didn't you have fear?
Too busy working. So see what happens. Here's what happens when we think. The only thing that can fill that is fear. When we get in our head, when we get wondering about the future, you know, I don't think we were designed to cast too far into the future. I mean, I have a 100-year vision now, ironically, but I'm obsessed in the work still. So, is this making any sense? I mean, it is. It's a little different, but anyway, on the failure aspect, I didn't read anything early on, and I didn't look for people that had what I wanted. And at the time, the internet marketing industry didn't even exist.
It was early.
So there was no one to look. I couldn't. If I would have found you maybe it would have been different, because I could have said, "Oh my gosh, that's what you do. You make a ton of videos. You place ads everywhere."
Yeah. And
I would have spent 8 months doing that versus buying cold leads, calling. I mean, there was no one to look to. Now there's people to look to. But there had to be somebody, I just didn't know. I wasn't smart enough to look for someone.
Yeah, it might have existed, but you were so busy working through it that you just knew what was right in front of you, which was calling these leads. Yeah. I have a quote that I said on stage recently, which was, action cures fear. A lot of people are afraid, but you can actually just take so much action, and that action will create a result that actually, first of all, solves the fear in the first place, but then also you're so busy in that action, you don't, like you said, you don't even recognize the fear sometimes.
Right, and I think mistakes-wise, just like philosophically, I thought kind of small. My first mentor made about $8 grand a month. He was the first 6-figure earner I'd known, and he made about $8 grand a month, and I told him, I said, I want to make, so I started working with him, and I started to get into like $5,000 a month. And I said, I want to make like $500,000 a year. And he goes, I've been around for a decade. Nobody makes $500,000. Huh. That's what my mentor told me. And I thank him for his role, and he's still my friend, but I didn't believe him. And then I found another mentor who was a multimillionaire in California. I paid $2 grand for 4 45-minute sessions with him. And then I started making about $20,000, $30,000 a month. And I said, I want it to be more automated. I don't want to be on my phone as much as I'm on. And he goes, I've been doing this for 20 years. That's not possible.
Wow.
And 4-Hour Workweek just came out, Tim Ferriss's book. And I was like, yeah, but I think it is. Like, I'm reading this and you automate things. And then and then what really caused my surge was I just believed ignorantly that I could shoot forward. And I had people in my life, the best people in my life, saying, it doesn't work like that. And so it was weird. I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know if there's any value in this story.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, you went and sought mentors that were effective in the place that they were for the time being. But those are also mentors that kind of put a limiting belief. They tried to instill limiting belief in you. I do think there's something powerful. And when I'm listening to this, here's what I'm hearing, is that even when role models and mentors instilled this limiting belief, it caused you to have to, be able to see past that. It caused you, in order to get to the next level, you had to be able to see the next level, even when successful people were telling you it's not there.
And people
you had to be able to see past it.
That helped me, that had my interest and heart, that were sharing that so I didn't hurt myself. Like that's the weirdest part, because a lot of us when we're early, it's our uncles, our moms and dads, our spouses, people who love us the most going, this internet thing, it's time to just, come on back to reality. Get yourself a job, get yourself a 401k, play ball like the rest of us. They're not doing that to bring us down. They're doing that to protect us. And so to be in every level, so to hear that and still say, no, I think there's more, is, I don't know, it's a weird thing.
And why do you think it is? So I think so many people can relate to that people in our lives will oftentimes kind of, we call them haters or whatever, they'll kind of hate on us, but really they're doing it out of love. They don't want to see us try and then fail.
Yeah.
And they want to be able to see, I told you so. I told you that wouldn't work. So why is it that people are so inclined to come and tell us that something's not possible? Is it they truly love us so much that they don't want to, they're afraid of seeing our failure. They're afraid of seeing us like, oh, it didn't work out, that they don't even want to let us try it, because so many people are like that.
Well, remember when we brought the crew here, when we talked about the start of this interview, the young entrepreneur crowd that I have?
Yes.
When I launched that idea, one of my very best friends and a multimillionaire, more accomplished than me at the time, said, Mark, there have been guys who are published, famous authors, tried doing what you're doing, it doesn't work. And it was love. It just, this thing doesn't work. What you're doing here is not gonna work. And I was like, yeah, but I think it might. You know, so I've carried that, what if it does work? And then I've backed that up with just a lot of work. And then in the midst of that work, there's so many mistakes. But if you're busy, you just don't have time to dissect dead things. You know what I mean? You don't dissect growth, you just water growth. So I was just looking, where is there growth that I can just double down on? And I've just been scrambly like that the whole time.
Okay, so these young entrepreneurs, like we discussed in the beginning of this episode, you invited them over to your house. We had a great time, but and you coach and you mentor these people. Now, that's something powerful. A lot of people watching this right now are entrepreneurs. They might not all be young. There's men, there's women, there's different ages, there's different people all over the world. A lot of them can probably relate to your story about they've invested money into courses, they've invested money into software, they've invested money into their business. Maybe they've gone in debt. They've really been trying for a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, maybe 5 years. They haven't quite had that breakthrough, that one breakthrough that you got. If there's some words of wisdom that you can share with them as we wrap this episode up, what would you say to the people that are just wanting that breakthrough so bad, but they haven't yet experienced it yet?
Well, I like to say there's like a flight track, you know, an airstrip. And if you give yourself 30 days, what if success was on 31? So what I did, I can only say for myself, I didn't put any time limit on that runway, and I ran as hard as I could on that runway with the energy you got, whatever it is. Like, I get people have kids, they have jobs, they have obligations, you know, they have community obligations. Like, there's a lot going on. And what I did was if you lengthen the track and say, this is gonna take off, and not put these imposed time frames. Well, once this $5,000 credit card runs out, if it hasn't worked yet, I'm out. Quit now and save yourself the 5K. Because I've had people say, like, right when they've been buying, like some of the entrepreneurial course, they say, Mark, I sure hope you don't let me down. I say, I'm never gonna pick you up. I'm not carrying you for 1 second, so start walking right now. And then they say, this has to work in 90 days. I said, well, what if it doesn't? What if it's 6 months? You know, what if like I could have quit at 6 months and I'd be working a job every day, either blocking or drinking away the pain of my regret of selling out for the easy path and just numbing myself to the whole deal, or actively thinking about what I could have become. I don't want to think about what I could become.
Yeah.
I just want to attempt to become what I think I could become. And so what I would say for some entrepreneurs, like they're like, I don't know, like it's getting hard, I want to quit. I say, well, quit for 30 days, just quit. I say, do not watch another video, do not buy another course, do not go to the conference. And this is unorthodox, I get that. But I say, just walk away and see if you feel better. Or see if you get bothered beyond control. But I say, literally walk away and do not come back for 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Don't pick up a book, and just see if your inner self is compelled here. And if it is, and if you're drawn back, and if it's a homing mechanism, you know, get your ass in gear.
Wow. And
quit playing this, I might be out, I might be in, walk away. Because the fence is gross. It's painful to sit on the fence. It's also, there's a Bible phrase, like, you're lukewarm, you get puked out. You know, lukewarm, if you're just like on the fence, like I just say quit or get on, like one or the other, but get to a decision. And the decision isn't, if it works in 90 days, it's gonna work. The decision is, I am going to make it work or quit. That's what I would say. Now, that's a strong message, I get that. I've also helped create a lot of people that have made a lot of money. But that's what I advise. That's what I advise the young guys. It's what I advise my middle-aged people. They're like, I don't know, you know, I've been at it for, I've spent $300 on Facebook ads. I've only gotten 10 leads. It's $30 a lead. It should be about $1.50. And I said, hey, you've got knowledge right now that's the top 10% in the country on how to generate a Facebook lead. I said, you could go to your local people, your local dentists, chiropractors. You're like a mythical guru to them. I said, don't undersell how fast you've gone. Yeah. And then you can tell I'm on a hot button here. But it's like, people will go to nursing school for 3 or 4 years to get a job that pays $40,000. 3 or 4 years here with your head down, if you're not making 6 figures by year 4 or 5, like, then you're just not doing it right. Period. You're not doing it right. So people will spend 40, 50, 60K to get a job that they don't even want, to barely get a life that they barely want. And I'm just saying, so it doesn't faze me when people throw down 40, 50, 60 grand. I'm like, welcome to college. Yeah. This is a college. This is an education. But the trick is you can start turning money in 3 or 4 weeks. How many doctors' schools and pre-med do they sit down and say, all right, how much money have you made? And they're in pre-med, they're going, I haven't made any money. I'm learning. Well, you're 120,000 down, why not quit? In this industry, what's the difference? You're in school, join, but you get to earn. We have people that make, money their first 2 weeks trying. Yeah. Now, not always, but it happens. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. So you can tell I'm on a hot button. You touch my heart on this stuff, but
I love it. I love the idea of don't set self-imposed time limits. Don't say when this credit card runs out or if I don't reach it by this day, then I'm done. Instead, just decide, like you said, you might need to take a step back and decide if this is your path or not. But if it's your path, stretch that path out. Make sure to give yourself enough room to take off. Right. You might be too short. It might take you a little bit longer to take off, but you will, if you believe in yourself, you will take off. You will have that breakthrough, and it will happen. But so break loose those time frames. Give it everything you've got. Take massive action. And do whatever it takes, and treat your education, treat your learning experience along the way as if you would if you were to go to school or go to college or something like that. So I think it's powerful. I think we can end with that message right there. I think that was.
I would like to say one. I would like to
one more thing.
One thing. I was visiting with a couple people last night. Said I was coming here for this interview, and I said, I think you are the best internet marketer alive. Wow. I do. I said, you know what? I think Chris Record is not just the best internet marketer, I think you're the best teacher of internet marketing alive. I really do, and I want to say that on your show, because that's what I believe. Wow. And I've never said that about anybody. So
well, it shocked me a little bit there.
Yeah, it's true. I just think I heard you. Most of the time when I hear people, I want to jump on the stage and say, no, that's close. When you speak, I just sit back. That's it. Wow. And so.
Thank you.
Honored to be here.
Thanks. Honored to have you.
100%.
Okay.
This is a technology, it's a computing language, and I can build an app on it.
Is Bitcoin the currency of the future?
Crypto gang, ether gang, big gang, alt gang, light gang, cash game, blockchain. Whoa, I don't really ever buy stocks, man. No. Haters wanna say I'm in a bubble, man. No. Chew them up like bubble gum. No. Just made a meal with my pocket change. No. Wreck about to go and join the huddle gang. Huddle gang, huddle gang, huddle gang. Crypto gang, ether gang, big gang, alt gang, light gang, cash game, blockchain. Whoa, I don't really ever buy stocks, man. No. Haters wanna say I'm in a bubble, man. No. Chew them up like bubble gum. No. Just made a meal with my pocket change. No. Wreck about to go and join the huddle gang. Huddle gang, huddle gang, huddle gang. Ethereum pays for my rent. Bitcoin pays for the vent. Litecoin pays for the jet. Bitcoin cash for the rest. Spent 30 racks on an ICO. What coin did you buy? I forgot, yo. Just got started last night, bro. And I'm already hooked like a pipe, though. Flipping a coin, making it grow, taking it slow, letting it go. Cash flow's growing, it's incredible to watch it flow. Stacking the cash, taking it home, making it fast. I'm on a roll, little bit mo's all I ask for the bubble, though. Currently, learning about a new type of currency. Burning the dollar down like an emergency. Urgently, listen, my friends have been urging me. Coins have been surging, we're earning like surgency. We on a mission, man. Crypto maniac. Act like you don't really know about it. Stop that. Bitcoin I'm blowing up like a bomb. Step back, used to be a couple $100, should've copped that. Blew up on a scene from the mind of a brainiac. Back in 2009, where the miners at? Silk Road, baby, it's gotta be anonymous. Satoshi blew up, now we on the map. Crypto gang, Ether gang, big gang, alt gang, light gang, cash game, blockchain. Whoa, I don't really ever buy stocks, man. Haters wanna say I'm in a bubble, man. Chew them up like bubble gum. Just made a meal with my pocket change. Wreck about to go and join the huddle gang. Huddle gang, huddle gang, huddle gang. Everybody looking at me now and they're shocked now, cause the price going down. Meanwhile, I'ma cop more at a discount with a smile, cause I'm making money on the altcoins right now. I'ma double down like animal style sup now. People in the crowd, they watching me bubble up now. Open up a brand new Coinbase account, and I'm buying everything from Ripple to Litecoin now. Pull out my principle, keep it real simple, then play with the house. Investing in crypto, I'm chasing these coins like they chase to a mouse. I'm on the verge of a digital currency, merging technologies. This is the future, so obviously I'm all in. There's no bottom, we hodl it now. Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Throw your hands in the air, man, if you down with the blockchain. I ain't got time for the haters, man. We about to grow to 1 million. Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Tell me, are you down with the crypto? Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Throw your hands in the air, man, if you down with the blockchain. I ain't got time for the haters, man. We about to grow to 1 million. Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Tell me, are you down with the crypto?
It is the most powerful technology that the world has seen, I believe, since the invention of agriculture.
Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it can be. Bitcoin is better than currency.
As with most major technology shifts, let's think about what young people are doing. 32% of young people say they prefer Bitcoin to stocks. 42% of millennial males say they plan to purchase Bitcoin in the next 5 years. We're barely in the first inning right now.